So you're a real estate agent and you're wondering what platform you should be using for marketing. Now, I have some really strong opinions on this, and I'm going to share some of my personal experience. I'm a real estate agent too, and I specialize in the Las Vegas, Nevada area. I live and work in an area called Summerlin. And then I have team members in Boulder City, Henderson, and North Las Vegas, so we serve the entire Las Vegas Valley. I've been in real estate since 2007, and prior to that, I owned my own company and did all of the marketing. So I'm an SEO girl, and what that means is I specialize in search engine optimization, which is ranking on Google. So much of my time is spent creating content that is optimized for search. So if somebody types in what are closing costs when selling my house in Las Vegas or something along those lines, I'm likely to appear on the search engines. Now, as time has gone on, it's gotten harder and harder to compete with the larger platforms like Zillow. So I specialize in the niches and in long tail searches. So those are a search that somebody types in, and it contains a lot of words that make the search very specific. So for example, it could be something like homes for sale in Summerlin under $400,000 with a pool, those types of things, okay? So this video is not about teaching you search engine optimization. I just wanted to give you an example of one of the places that I specialize in. So when I say what channel should you be marketing on, I'm talking about all of these things. Google being Yahoo's, the search engine group, right? So specializing in search, that's a platform, if you will. Is it social media? Is it Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest? And each one of those items is specifically its own channel with its own language and its own behavior patterns and its own algorithms. And so just saying social media is absolutely not, it's not a blanket where one size fits all if you're going to do social media. So we've got search and we've got social. Those are some primary online digital channels that people focus on. Then we have another bucket, which is paid advertising. So this would be banner ads, pay-per-click ads, display ads, Facebook ads, Instagrams, LinkedIn ads, Pinterest ads. Even though they cross search and social, it really has its own bucket. And I know a lot of people that generate most of their business by paying per click, sometimes paying per impression. So we're going to talk about that bucket as well. And then we also have YouTube. We've got video, right? So that's both search and social. It could fit into any of those buckets. And it can also fit into pay-per-click if you're paying to advertise on YouTube as well. So these are a bunch of different digital marketing channels that I want to specifically address, because if you are either just getting into real estate or you're looking to expand your business and you're trying to figure out where is the best place for me to spend my time, my energy, my money, I want to kind of help you with some of those ideas and concepts and costs and conversions that might help direct you a little bit better as to where you want to spend your time. Then when you narrow down those channels, you can actually dive in a little bit deeper. We'll go a little deeper to even hone in more on the sub channels, or where you want to, how you want to focus on that channel. Okay. So keep in mind when we're talking about real estate that you have a tremendous amount of opportunity. And if you try to be in all of these places, the odds are you're not going to do any of them at a super high level. So my suggestion always is to pick 1, 2, 3. Don't go crazy and try to be mastering Instagram and LinkedIn and Pinterest and YouTube and search and, oh my goodness, it's just impossible. Believe me, I continuously feel the pull to dive into another channel. But I also know that I only have so many hours in the day, and I want to specialize. I want to do it well so that it works. So I may use tools that help feed my posts and things out to other channels. And yes, I know that is not an optimal way to be on cross platforms, but sometimes that is the only way to be on cross platforms, because I'm not going to be on all of them, right? And every time you turn around, there's something new. I mean, TikTok, holy cow. We'll talk about that a little bit too when we get into the social side of it. But every time you turn around, there's something new. So how can you possibly be in all these places? You can't. So let's narrow that. Let's try to narrow this down a little bit for you so that maybe you can kind of start with the process of elimination. Whenever I have a major choice, I'm really trying to figure something out, and there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle, I will start with elimination. Like, okay, I know that doesn't fit, or I know that that's not what I want. And you kind of take them one at a time until you get down to a smaller number that you can really start looking at pros and cons and where you want to be. All right. So let's start with the first one, which is my real specialty, which is search. So search is going to primarily, in this example, although it can cross over into social very easily and does, we're gonna look at Google as our primary focus. Okay. So your first question when you're looking at search is, 1, do I have what it takes to compete in a super competitive, super saturated space, which is search? Okay. It's doable, and it can be an incredible opportunity for those that are willing to dive in and really focus and do the work. I mean, I earned 6 figures in affiliate income outside of my real estate business that comes from search. It also comes from not just search, it also comes from influence on YouTube and teaching live classes, but a big part of it also comes from search. I have a portfolio of websites. I have 8 websites that I'm actively working on, and they all earn money through affiliate marketing and through publishing. And so that's another income stream, is publishing, which is selling ads on my website, selling ads on my YouTube videos. That's another income stream, is publishing. So search has this unbelievable growth opportunity that can turn into a whole bunch of different things. When we're talking about search, what we're talking about is building content that people are going to find when they type in search queries. That content could be blog posts, real estate market reports, hyper-local information like things to do in Summerlin for Easter, things, best places to take mom for Mother's Day. Those could be hyper-local. It could be real estate news, things about the area. That ties into real estate market, but sometimes you might just want to write an article about the new home construction on the corner and how that's going to affect home prices, right? So real estate news type articles or blog posts as well. Your content is going to be a suite of frequently asked questions that you answer either in the form of a blog post or a page, an article on your website. And these are going to be answers to questions that people ask you all the time, your customers, your clients. They could be answers to questions that you find on the web, which I teach how to find all of that as well. And I never have a shortage for content. I mean, I know all the tools to get everything you could possibly imagine forever and ever and ever. It's more of just the time to get to it all. Time, energy, leverage, money, all of those things to get to it all, because it's endless, in my opinion. Content is endless. Content is also your IDX on your website. So IDX stands for the Internet Data Exchange, and it is the MLS feed that puts those listings on your website. So when somebody goes and types in 3-bedroom home in Summerlin with a pool and a mother-in-law quarters under 500,000, long tail niche keyword there, example, and they find a grid of homes, those boxes that have the homes, and they click on it and they look at the pictures, they look at the description and the portfolio, that's called IDX. Okay, now if you're wondering, in this video below, I've got a list of descriptions, and I'm going to give you the tools that I use. Okay, so check them out. I am an affiliate marketer, so I do benefit if you make a purchase through most of my links. Also, they may save you a coupon. So for example, IDX. I use a company called Idx Broker. I'm an Idx Broker developer along with my brothers who own a digital marketing company called Ballen Brands. I actually founded it and eventually gave it to them, which they now own and operate, and I hold an interest in. So they build these real estate agent websites. So if you need one of these real estate agent websites, talk to Jeff and Paul first at Ballen Brands. They build based on my designs and functionality from my experience in real estate today and past, okay? So Idx Broker is what powers those real estate agent websites with all of the homes that appear on there. Okay. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, there's a link below where I've got several videos now on how to build a real estate agent website, what to put on it, different theme examples, how to put in your IDX. And so my IDX Broker link will save you $99 if you're a do-it-yourselfer and you click there and sign up. And so check those out in the video below. If you have any questions or I forget to put something in, just make sure you let me know. Okay. So if you are going to focus on search, you are probably going to need to have a website. My preference is WordPress. I avoid things. I don't think Wix and Squarespace and those types of websites are bad by any means. And especially for somebody that's just never going to learn the tech side of it, they're fine. But if you really want to get into high-level search engine ranking and you want to get into potential advertising on your website and things, you really want to have a more robust, SEO-friendly, growth oriented type of website, which for me is WordPress. And I have tried so many other platforms. I've tried broker platforms. I've tried standard real estate monthly lease type platforms. And for me, I want to own the website. I don't want, if I were to ever switch brokerages, that I have to give up the website. Hold on one second. I'm just going to close that. There we go. I don't want to give up the website because I moved. So for example, I'm a Keller Williams real estate agent, and Keller Williams is building this incredible real estate marketing platform for its agents, and it's called KW Command. And I actually teach KW Command to people that follow my real estate channels. And I am using it for my real estate business, but I'm not really building out that website, the Keller Williams website, for SEO. Now, I'm fine with running a Facebook ad, sending it to my KW Command website, which we've got all optimized and it looks great. But if I want it to be my SEO is an asset. It's an investment. It's an investment of my time and my money and my energy, and I need to know that that is mine. And if I go anywhere else, it goes with me. So while I'm going to use the KW Command website especially for digital Facebook ads and stuff are incredible, I'm going to keep building my WordPress website for my real estate channel so that it's an asset that I own. But there are ways to have them play together. And as a matter of fact, if you are a KW agent watching this, my brothers Jeff and Paul at Ballen Brands also customize the KW Command websites They run the Facebook ads in there. They help you with import and exports on your database. They help build landing pages. So definitely talk to them if you're in need of leverage for WordPress or for the KW command sites. My brother Jeff happens to also be a Keller Williams agent. So it's nice, all in the family. All right. So back to just general real estate conversation. You're probably going to want a WordPress. Now your next question might be, what about Boomtown? What about Sync, Commissions Inc.? What about KV Core? Is that what it's called? What about Playster? What about this? All of those websites have many wonderful features. And you generally don't have access to back up the database on most of them, which would mean you don't own it. You might own the domain. The domain could go with you. The .com or the .vegas or the whatever you have might go with you. Maybe, depending on the platform. But chances are, if you don't have access to back up that WordPress database, or they have not given you permission, you need to ask, then it's a leased website, which means the moment you stop paying for it, it goes away. It's gone. Where with WordPress, we own the database. We can move hosts. You know, a web host is what makes your website live. So the website is published by a host, but I could move that database to a different host if I don't think my website's fast enough, or I don't like the speed, or I don't like the service. But that database goes with me everywhere I go. The database is your content. It's everything that lives on that website. So it gives me security to know that that's mine, okay? Love Boomtown for its scoring system and its conversions for ads. If all you're going to do is run ads, you're going to get into that pay-per-click sector, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes, then Boomtown might be the right solution for you. But what if you get into a bunch of pay-per-click marketing and then you do so well that you've decided to hire an SEO or have your admin do SEO or whatever, now you're going to start doing content. Well, now you're going to be building on somebody else's asset. Now, I don't want to talk out of turn. So if you are a Boomtown client, conversion client, Commissions Inc. client, whatever it is that you are, ask them, because I don't know if anything has changed. I don't work for them. So just empower yourself to go find out, you know, do I own this? Can it move with me? Can I back it up? Do I own the domain? Those are important questions before you invest in a big platform like that, okay? So if you're going to you're going to work search, what you're going to need to do is, one, have your website preferably with IDX. You're also going to want to put home valuation offers on your websites. You're going to need to have a landing page that they land on, that they can put in their address, and it gives them a home valuation. Now, below in the video, there's a link below, listings to leads. If you use my link, you get an extended free trial, which I believe means you get to try it free for 30 days. So don't go to my website and put in your address to get a home valuation tool, because then it gets all clustered up, right? But click that link, set up a trial for yourself for 30 days. And then if you can try the home valuation tool and see if it works for you. I have videos and trainings on every single piece I'm talking about today, okay? So you might be attending my master class and learning all of this with me. You might be a Ballen method. I have courses at ballenacademy.com. In fact, if you head over there, www.ballenacademy.com, you can see whatever upcoming events I might have, past courses, evergreen courses. So I don't know when you're watching this, so head over there, you can check it out. All right. So I've also got videos on this channel, and I'll put some links for you so that you can move around. So if you're going to do search, you're investing in a website, you're investing in IDX, you're going to have hosting, somebody that makes your website live every month. So you're going to have some costs associated with those tools. You're probably going to have some sort of analytics tool and maybe a keyword research tool. So you're going to have a little suite of tools that help you keep this up and running. But I will tell you, out of all of that, the only thing that's a required expense, the only two things that's a required expense is hosting for your website, whatever makes it live, and that IDX, the real estate listing feed, are the must. Everything else is extras all around that, okay? Now, you're also going to need the time, ability, or money. You're either going to buy your way in or you're going to sit and do it yourself, okay? So those are things to consider. So now you're going to need to get into content. So you're going to learn, maybe with somebody like me, maybe with somebody else, you're going to learn how to create SEO content, search engine optimized content. What type of content should I be creating? What type of queries are people, what type of search keywords are people typing in to Google that would bring them to a real estate agent website? And then how do I answer those questions? How do I become the local neighborhood expert if I'm going to specialize in hyper-local? Or maybe I'm going to do a niche. Maybe I'm going to specialize in 55 plus communities or beachfront communities or high-rise communities or flips, rehabs, estate sales. I don't know what it's going to be, but maybe you're going to build a niche website specific to a niche. So you're going to have to figure out, how do I have it in me to do all this content? Well, it's going to be very hard for you to focus on all of that search intent and then also be trying to learn everything about Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or LinkedIn or Pinterest. So if you're going to go into search, you really want to give it everything you have. Now, social media will tie in. I've got tools that when I create a blog post, it takes excerpts of the blog and makes them quotes or speech bubbles or tweets or things like that. Not just sharing a link, but it literally takes pieces of the blog itself or the article itself and makes it look more organic, like it's more organically that language of the social channel. And that link is below, and that one is, what's the missing letter? Sorry, missing letter it's called. There's a link below. You can check that out. Some of my things have trials, so you'll just have to check it out and see which ones do, because I don't know all offhand. Most of them I think have free trials. Anyway, so you're going to use social media, and you might have one of those channels that you would adopt as well that goes with your search, but you're probably not going to, try to build a website and specialize in search and try to build this major YouTube channel and try to be an Instagram expert, right? That's going to be challenging. If you've got a big team and everybody can take one of those things, then go for it. But if it's you and you have to learn that all, and every one of them has a different way of ranking, and the algorithm is completely different. So you got to really, really be careful about that. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is social media. So right now you should already have in your head, yeah, I like what she's saying with search, or no, that is not for me. So our goal was to eliminate some of these pieces. So if that's still on your radar, then make a note, search. You can call it SEO or you can call it search. That's still on your radar. If not, check it off, move on. We're going to the next thing, okay? All right. Now, if you do end up doing search too, my brothers, Paul and Jeff at Ballen Brands, also do content. So if you've got money to throw at this, there's help for you out there, okay? If it's just you, it's time that you're going to be your biggest opportunity and challenge all at the same time. Okay, search, by the way, if you go at it really, really hard, you could still spend a year or two building it before you really see what's the progress is going to be. That domain has to age. You got to get a lot of content on there. You got to get some backlinks, where people are referring to your content. It's not a quick thing, okay? So you've got to really know that you're playing a long game, and you've got to really go in with, I know this is going to work. I'm just going all in. It's going to work, and I'm really going to hit it hard, okay? So just keep that in mind. I would easily say a good year of steady, focused content before you really start seeing things pick up. But then it's a gift that keeps on giving, because you get all these leads all day long because you took the time to create it. Okay, social. Now, social has a bunch of different channels as well. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is, if you're really wondering which channel is best for your real estate business, ask yourself this: where are my clients? Where are my customers? Where is the audience that are my customers that I want? Okay. Each of these platforms has completely different demographics, different income ranges, different types of statuses. Everybody's different. So if for me, my average client is like me. They are, and that's very common, by the way. We tend to attract who we are. So as we age, sometimes our client base ages, or as we move up or down in income ranges and professions and whatever, the people that we attract tend to follow. We tend to attract who we are, right? So for me, my general audience is on Facebook more than they are on LinkedIn, more than they are on Instagram, more than they are on Twitter, more than they are on Pinterest, more than that. For me, the most of them would be on Facebook. Okay. Now, getting business through Facebook can be done in multiple strategies as well. So if you were to say, okay, I know that my average client is in the demographic that is most likely to be on Facebook, then just put a pin in that for a second, that Facebook is a strong possibility for you. Okay. LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is going to be much better for networking with business professionals. So if your goal is to connect and network with people that are in a more tech-driven industry, or C-level executives, or whatever type of profession, and that's where you relate most to those types of people, and you know that you can go in and create LinkedIn groups and connect with people on that level, then LinkedIn might be right for you. Instagram is evolving and so incredibly competitive. We do see a lot more of a span of age groups now on Instagram, but we also see still a much larger amount of people from out of the country that are on Instagram. So that's something to keep in mind if that's not your target audience. We still see a younger demographic, and it has definitely turned into much more of an influencer style platform. So the better Instagram people that are generating Instagram business are either running paid ads, or they are working diligently to create a following on Instagram. So you have to keep that in mind, that if I'm going to use Instagram, I really need to be an influencer and really appropriately use stories and live video and your LinkedIn, your bio, and all the things that you need to do for Instagram need to really showcase you as some sort of authority in your market, but with some kind of a spin on it, with some kind of flair to it, with some kind of fun to it. What would people follow? Why would they follow? Why would they follow you? And you really need to be photo heavy. Maybe your whole shtick is going to be taking pictures of, some people do the bad MLS photos, which I'm not a fan of, because then you're picking on other real estate agents. But a lot of people tend to follow those. Maybe it's just things you've never seen in a house before. Maybe it's just these killer over-the-top luxury homes. Maybe your whole Instagram account is going to be about amazing kitchens. I don't know. Okay. But maybe it's going to be focused on, maybe you're going to create an Instagram following around being a mom or being a dad, or a single mom or single dad, or those types of things. And you're going to tie your real estate business into it somehow, but you're going to create a following around being this certain kind of mom. I know these the mom groups are absolutely huge. And then just bring in your real estate business but it's not all real estate. So you're going to have to really think that one through. If you're going to go Instagram, you're really going to need to spend a lot of time on there building stories and photos and videos and really creating a rich following. Now, you can be in any one of these channels without crossing over to the other. You can do just search and not touch social media. You could do just Facebook and not touch these other things. You could do just LinkedIn. You could do just Instagram if you do it at a high enough level where you get enough business. For example, I was Googling, looking for somebody that did microblading. That's where they do the tattoo eyebrows on your face. Anyway, I was looking for somebody that does microblading. And I did my normal thing where I went to Google and I typed in, microblading or whatever it was. Somebody had told me about it. I didn't know much about it. And I'm Googling it. And I kept finding what is microblading, but I wasn't finding a lot of great resources for somebody local. I wasn't finding a lot of great websites that offered photos or before and after pictures or anything like that. So the website, well, there's opportunity for somebody, but I wasn't finding what I wanted. So then I went to Facebook, and I didn't go in and just ask everybody, hey, who does my microblading in Vegas? Because most of my Facebook following is actually real estate agents from out of Vegas. I don't really have Vegas people much in my Facebook, so I don't use my Facebook for that purpose. I have business pages, but I'm not really using my personal account for that. So I wouldn't go in there and just say, hey, who's the best? I wouldn't have that many Vegas people answering. So that didn't work for me either. But I went to the search bar on Facebook and I typed in microblading, and I found a girl that had a Facebook business page, and she had all these before and after pictures, which is perfect for that type of an industry. And then I immediately followed it, liked the page, and then she had a booking button. So on Facebook, you can actually set up a calendar and booking and free Facebook chat bots as part of Facebook. And I was able to chat on Facebook, and I was able to book an appointment through her booking calendar. Everything she needed was right there on Facebook. She did not also need to have a website. Now, could she capture the people that are on Google, looking on Google, if she had a website? Yes. But she doesn't need to be doing search also. If she's building a big enough business on Facebook, she doesn't also have to go build a website. So years later now, I've known her now for years, and she still never has. She just always does everything on Facebook. Now she also has an Instagram account, and it makes sense on Instagram. Instagram and Facebook work very well together. So if you're using them for similar purposes, so an Instagram account would have her before and after photos, and it would be pretty easy to keep those two up, in my opinion, because the feed is going to be very similar as to what you're building. Okay. Now she could also add in TikTok if she wanted. Now TikTok, in case you haven't watched it, it's an app. You can download it on your phone, and there's a website also. And it just is these short little videos. I don't even know how long they are, 15 seconds. Short little videos of people dancing or giving some sort of advice or showing really quick how something is done. TikTok is perfect for visual, short promo examples. So for her, and I haven't looked to see if she's on there, but for her, after she does somebody's brows, she does this kind of thing where she brushes over them, and they look like real brows. It's amazing. And that absolutely could be a 15-second little TikTok video. Or she could do a quick little tip. Hey, if you're thinking of getting microbladed brows, here's a tip before you go. Or here's the best way to heal microbladed brows. And she, whatever. Like those are great. Those all would go together. Those three things could go together really easily. Now she's probably not on LinkedIn. Maybe she's doing things on Pinterest. Those can kind of cross over a little bit. But specifically, great place to be for her is Facebook and Instagram. Anything else beyond that, it would be extra time, learning the language, those types of things. Okay. Twitter. Now, Twitter, I myself have not done a ton on Twitter. I've never been one that loves to chat and direct response and tag other people and get into conversation. So for me, it's not a great platform. And I think if somebody I would post something and I'd use the appropriate hashtags, whatever, and people would respond to me, but I didn't see it. So now I'd be like 3 days later catching the tweet. And you can't do that. Like, you got to be on and responsive. And it's also a place of great debate, which I'm not super comfortable in that space. So for me, it's just not somewhere I spend a lot of time. Okay. So, but could it be right for you, especially if you're already on there? Absolutely. I know people who get a ton of referrals from Twitter, from connecting with other real estate agents. And so if you're going to use it for that purpose, that absolutely could work for you. Now let's talk about Pinterest. So Pinterest is very interesting. I've been on Pinterest now, focused on it for a couple of years. And like I said, I have 8 websites that are my babies that I'm building, and they cross several different niches. So I have a couple in real estate, hyper-local niches. I've got a ketogenic recipe food blog on Pinterest. I've got a lifestyle blog that I'm building, that I'm doing things on Pinterest. So I crossed several different kinds of niches in there. Well, what I can tell you is that Pinterest is incredibly visual. And the algorithm keeps changing to try to eliminate people that are just posting links and whatever without giving a whole lot of effort to the photo and what that means to people that are on Pinterest scrolling. They want us to be using it for visual things, art, fashion, travel, like these beautiful mountains and all of these incredible pictures. Recipes are by far the best in that group. So recipes are a no-brainer. I could probably generate all the traffic I wanted to my food blog just from Pinterest. The challenge I have, quite honestly, is I just don't have the time to spend on it. I'm building too many things. So for me, if I was really going to kick up that food blog website, if that's really where I wanted to give some love, I would be on Pinterest. That's the number one. I do a lot from search. I have a website, I build content. But I personally, now after playing with everything, Pinterest is my favorite for food bloggers, fashion bloggers, anybody that wants to show makeup, clothes, jewelry. Those are just huge on Pinterest. Anything to do with fixing up houses, organizing, do-it-yourself, crafts, arts and crafts. Those are all big. Holiday things, make it yourself costumes, decorations. Those are all really big on Pinterest. So while a blogger who is blogging about real estate can absolutely make a pin, put it on Pinterest, here's my new listing, this is happening, the odds that you would get any traction from that are pretty slim, any significant traction. So you could create a Pinterest account for business, create different boards. This board is going to contain boards, by the way, on Pinterest are kind of like a bulletin board that you stick pins to. So each board kind of has its own topic. So your Pinterest for business account is real estate, but then your boards could be things to do in Las Vegas, best kitchens, do-it-yourself home organization, best holiday decorations, living room finds. I'm trying to think of the word where you flip antiques or whatever. Anyway, those could all be, and then you could have listings. You could have a whole board that's made up of all the neighborhoods in your area. And I've tested all this. The challenge is most people on Pinterest are not hyper-local. So for me, the pins that do really well for me on my real estate Pinterest for business account is I've got things to do in Vegas on your 21st birthday. Best places to take the kids when visiting Vegas. things to do in Vegas other than gambling. It's like people that are going to take a trip or travel are Googling something and they find a pin. Pins actually rank on the search engines. So they're probably not sitting on Pinterest typing in Vegas things to do, but they might be on Google typing in things to do and they find it. They could be on Pinterest researching pictures of the Grand Canyon or the themed hotels, things like that. So again, visual. What's visual? So if you're going to go all at Pinterest because you love creating graphics and pins, and you're going to have to think about, how do I make this a visually appealing thing that people will find? And then how do I turn that into real estate business? That's going to be your challenge, because you could create a whole bunch of really cool themes, kitchens. Hold on, I'm falling apart here. Kitchens and, best kitchens. But these are going to be people that are in Maine and I'm in Vegas and they have no intent of moving to Vegas. They're looking at my pin just because they love the concept and they pin it. Well, how does that turn into business, right? Well, that again, back to the AdSense monetization and affiliate income, you could grow into that if that ended up being something that you enjoy doing. But I personally just don't think that for a local real estate business, that out of all the things I could do and all the channels that I could do, that I would choose Pinterest as a top one, right? It's just a leg in the whole, it's just one piece of the puzzle, but it's definitely not, for all the blogs that I do and all the things that I do, Pinterest is not huge for turning into real estate sales, okay? That's just me. I'm not saying, hey, if you are watching this and you are killing it on Pinterest and getting a ton of sales, let me know. I love interviewing people that are doing things at a super high level and that can teach us things we haven't thought of. So absolutely love it. All right. So there's the Pinterest side of it. So TikTok, I absolutely believe TikTok could turn into real estate business. Here's how it works for me. So TikTok is it started as a younger person, under 30 network. And then it really has exploded and is definitely attracting the over 30. And it's amazing how many people in my age group are on TikTok, making TikTok videos, watching. I haven't posted one yet, but I definitely watch it. But what happens is the algorithm, TikTok is amazing at showing you what it believes you are most going to be interested in. So as soon as you set up your profile, they start to figure you out. Of course, all of your social connections and everything, you have a digital footprint, so they kind of know who you are right out of the gate. And then you start scrolling, and when you see a video, so what kind of happens is these little videos just start showing up on your feed. And you're going to scroll past one that doesn't interest you. They're storing that memory. Okay, she doesn't like dog videos. She doesn't like 13-year-olds dancing in their bedroom videos, because you can see by how she's scrolling past that. But every time there's one on a quick little keto recipe or a funny cat video or something with cute babies, she's watching those. So without me having to like them or I don't know all the TikTok terminology, sorry, but without me having to follow the person that's making it, it knows what I want just based on how I'm scrolling. So it starts to show me more over 40s and 50-year-olds. It starts to show me more women in my demographic, and especially on these little quick tutorials. I tend to stop on those types of things. And every now and then I'll see somebody giving great weight loss tips or great tips on divorce or tips on anti-aging or whatever it is, and I'll click follow. Now that person, I'm going to get notifications when that person's making videos. Well, you could do the same thing by taking these quick little snippets of advice about buying a home or selling a home, or I could do hyperlocal Vegas if I want, because my Vegas channel does really well with the advertising and whatnot. So I could go out and tour, take the double-decker bus tour down the strip and make a quick little video of why people should take that tour. And at the same time, I'm probably going to make a long video for YouTube because I'm recording the videos anyway. Why not get a twofer and work on both of those? So TikTok could be a great opportunity if you're really clever about how you give advice or how you add value to the TikTok user. You could it's all a riddle. Maybe you go into a house and you hide something in plain view, but not in plain view, like a Where's Waldo kind of thing. And they've got 15 seconds to spot whatever it is. And maybe it's your logo. Maybe you only do it in houses and you say, they can see that your name on there is Jane Smith, Realtor. And in every one, they have to find the Jane Smith logo. Maybe it's your face cut out somewhere, but you're hiding it in a certain way. I don't know. Those are just the marketing brain in me thinking out loud. Okay. So those are some of your major social channels. If you looked at at each of those channels and you said, okay, I'm going to pick Facebook, you would still then want to dive down deeper under Facebook and decide strategically now how do you want to use Facebook. So one of the absolute best ways that I have found is by running Facebook groups. When you join other people's groups, you have their set of rules. They delete your post, you can't sell, which makes perfect sense. I mean, I understand why you can't sell, but sometimes you'll post very helpful thing and they will still delete you because they don't want the competition because they also sell something like that. So you have to be really careful about joining other people's groups with the intent to promote yourself as a real estate agent. It's going to be really challenging to do that. Now, Nextdoor, by the way, is another social channel. And if I remember, I'll put a link below. I do have a link for Nextdoor promotions to run ads on Nextdoor. Nextdoor is a great platform, and I've actually interviewed people that do really well generating business from Nextdoor. If you're going to do Nextdoor, you have to commit to being a geographic farmer. That's what we used to call it. I don't know if that's phrase even used anymore. But geographic farming was when we would go out and we would pick a neighborhood and we would have 200 homes in that neighborhood, let's just say, and we're going to mail to them once or twice a month. We're going to send a real estate market report once or twice a month. When it's Halloween, we're going to pop by with little pumpkins on their doorstep and for the kids. Maybe once a year, we're going to come randomly change their air filters or leave batteries for their smoke detectors. We're going to sponsor the neighborhood sports team. We're going to hold block parties. This is geographic farming, right? And Nextdoor is going to be of a similar format. You have to get on there and you have to provide value. You can't be saying, here's my listing, here's my listing, here's my listing. You've got to be known in that neighborhood as one of their neighbors, because you only get in Nextdoor as somebody that lives in that neighborhood. So if you're going to geographically farm the neighborhood you live in, Nextdoor could be awesome. Great place for you to start building relationships, what's happening at the school. Oh, I can help. I'll show up. Now you're meeting the neighbors. Like, that's awesome for that kind of stuff. You also have to deal with all the complaining and whining and griping and lost cats and crazy, people taking pictures of other people's driver's license because they're driving too fast and posting it on Nextdoor so everybody can see this insane driver. Oh, makes me crazy. But anyway, if you're that type of person that you enjoy that type of community involvement, Nextdoor can be great for you. All right, back to Facebook. So Facebook groups, if you create your own Facebook, this has been just so beneficial for me in multiple verticals, different niches that I'm in outside of real estate and real estate. You build these Facebook groups for people that have something in common. Okay, that's the main thing. What do they all have in common? Moms of Summerlin, dads of Las Vegas, firemen of San Diego, millennials of Montana. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. There has to be a qualification and some sort of thing that everybody can come together on. So I'm in a whole bunch of digital marketing groups because I love digital marketing. So I'm in SEO groups, I'm in Facebook groups, I'm in Pinterest groups, I'm in blogging groups, all of these different things where if I go in this group, we're all talking about SEO. If I go in this group, we're all talking about blogging and content marketing. If I go in this group, we're all talking about Pinterest. And there's a very clear line of those focuses. Those are the best groups, okay? It could be hyper-local if your hyper-local is small enough. So for example, just building a group for Las Vegas is going to be tough. There's 2.3 million people in the general greater Las Vegas area. It's going to be every Joe Schmo. It's going to be hard to qualify people. This is going to be some work. There's a bunch of them already out there. But if you go smaller, you know, how can you make that more of a niche? You know, moms or parents or guardians, whatever you want to call it, families of West Tech high school kids, you know, so this is going to be a group for everybody. They're going to, excuse me, they're going to mostly be in a similar age group. They're going to be in a similar time of their life. They're all going to be focused on getting their kids through high school. You know, that could be a really good group because you're going to build community in there. You're going to build value in there. Now, I'm not going to go into it all today, but I have specific training on how to build those groups, how to create and build a contact list, whether it's email, chatbot, text, direct mail, just say contact list for using membership questions, how to add value to the group, and also how to take ideas from the group in order to go create content. You're also going to really to commit. That is very much like search. It takes a while to really gain traction, to figure out your systems, to position yourself as the authority in the group, to build a following, to build a community, to build this group of people that are going to be loyal to you and really appreciate your value. That takes a while. So just like search, you got to say, you know what, I'm going at this. I'm giving it a year of everything I got before I expect a sale out of that group. Because I have to prove myself. I have to build it. I have to get it large enough. I have to figure out how I add my branding without alienating everybody. What does that look like? So for me, Lori Ballen's Facebook marketing group has been a huge driver of business for my training and coaching company, and now my brother's marketing company, for years, because I run it on exactly the same concept. But I'm very careful now about just going and launching a new group, because what I have learned is how much time and energy it really takes to do it well. Otherwise, it gets spammy, it gets sloppy. You have to delete all the spam. You have to qualify the people that join the group. You've got to remove old posts that aren't appropriate or, you know, too much controversy there. And then if you remove a post that's too controversial, you have to answer for that. You know, there's all these admin rule things that you take on that you really have to focus on, you know. So if you're going to do that, you got to really think about that strategically. Okay, two other buckets that I want to talk about today while you're continuing to make these choices. So now you've eliminated or you've pinned the possibility of websites. You have probably listened to this string of social media channels and maybe thought about one or two that would be right for you. You can explore that much deeper, but maybe you've got a feeling, a little vibe, and maybe you're saying, yeah, I'm not even going to do that. That's probably not where I'm going to spend a lot of my time in social media. So I'm probably just going to maybe feed to those channels a little bit, or maybe have my admin do a little here or there, hire a company to post some Facebook posts or whatever, but I'm probably not going to spend a ton of energy there. But you could run and build your entire real estate business on one or several of those social channels if that's what you wanted to do. Okay? And then pay-per-click. So pay-per-click is when you're going to pay every time somebody clicks on an ad. So you could run an ad on search engines where if somebody types in Las Vegas real estate agent, Lori Ballen's ad shows up at the top of Google, along with a few other people's ads. There's a sponsored section where the advertisers show up. You could run ads on display through display network. So Google has, and several of these channels has, the display network where you could say, I want my ad to show up on somebody else's website. So if somebody is on somebody else's website that might be related to real estate or related to Vegas, then show this real estate ad for Lori Ballen Real Estate Services in Las Vegas. Those are display ads, and they work differently. I had somebody once tell me, my daughter, she was a teenager at the time, my older daughter, or a maybe young adult, I don't know. Anyway, she messaged me and said, "Hey, Mom, my friend just texted me or messaged me that they saw your ad on Pandora." So Pandora is a music app, and they were on their phone, and my display ad showed up on their Pandora app. That's how display advertising works. So you're either going to pay per click, or you're going to pay for a certain amount of times that your ad is shown, and that's called an impression. So you might pay X amount of dollars for every 1,000 times your ad is shown, or you're going to pay for every click. Okay. So the most popular pay-per-click strategies for real estate agents are Google ads. Maybe they're doing Bing, Yahoo, some of these others, but specifically Google for sure, through Google AdSense, and Facebook ads. So they are running Facebook ads, and they're paying anywhere from a couple dollars. So per lead, there's several costs there. There's cost per click. So if somebody clicks on it. But then you can also figure out the math out of all those clicks, how many actually filled out a form and became a lead. And then out of all those leads, how many of those became a sale. That's your cost per sale. So cost per impression, cost per click, cost per lead, cost per sale. Okay. So on Facebook, we're through my KW Command channel, we're getting leads for less than a couple bucks each. But typically, and if I'm just running straight Google ads, they're running between $10 and $20 for a lead, not for a click, but for a lead. Clicks are in Vegas for only a couple bucks a click. So, $1 or $2 per click. But in other areas, you might spend $50 for somebody clicking on an ad. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I've talked to real estate agents that have actually called me wanting to learn SEO or social strategies because they are so freaked out that their Google pay-per-click bill is now $25,000 a month. And they don't know how they're going to feed their team leads because it's just getting too competitive and too expensive. So be prepared that if you're going to go all in on pay-per-click ads, one, you have to learn the strategy. There is strategy. Two, you got to put in the time and the practice and really master the whole process of advertising and converting those leads. You have to be quick to respond to them all, of course, and have your automated text messaging set up in your email programs if you're using email, chat bots, and then you're going to have to be prepared to be the biggest spender. So strategy only goes so far with pay-per-click marketing. If you and somebody else have both figured out the strategy and they have more money to spend, they're going to win. It's not like that with SEO. That's the beauty of it. It's not about who spends the money. It's who spends the time and who gets the quality right for the searchers, who understands the searcher's intent and best serves that content. Pay-per-click, you're going to have to be the biggest spender. Super competitive. And that's equally so on Facebook or any of these other social channels. Now, the one that I have found to be the lowest so far right now that I've dabbled in pay-per-click wise is Pinterest. That being said, I'm advertising on Pinterest across my channels, and I don't like what I'm seeing when they click a pin and they land on my website, then they bounce off and they're not doing anything. These are going to be better advertisements for direct intent for direct purchases. So here's this, I'm going to advertise this pin. They land on my website. I have a camera for sale, or I have this jacket that I want somebody to buy, or I have whatever. Those are going to probably do much better on those types of things. But would I if I take a new listing, would I create a pin and spend $10, 20, 30, whatever it is, promoting the pin? Yes, because that could still also rank on Google. And if the person clicks through and lands on my real estate listing and I've got good lead capture through my real estate website, then that could still be a win all the way around. But just to say, hey, here's the 5 tips for, staging a house, and you promote a pin and somebody clicks through and views the 5 tips really quick and then they bounce off, that's not great. Really have to have a good item of value, something for them to register for, a checklist, something like that, or a direct sale for that to really have benefit. So for me, if I'm entering the pay-per-click space as a real estate agent, I'm exploring Google, Facebook, Instagram. Those are like the primary ones that I'm probably looking at advertising on. Maybe Twitter, you can test it. KW Command has a thing where we can advertise to Twitter. You can play around with it, but definitely Google and Facebook. But Google's tough. You really got to learn that competition and your strategy. But it can also be a huge payoff if you figure out the math and the strategy. My brothers, Jeff and Paul at Ballen Brands, do both of those. They run Facebook ads and Google ads. So if you need help with that, reach out to them. Okay, the final channel that I want to talk about today, and I'm definitely not saying those are all of them. These are just really kind of the ones where most people, if they're going digital marketing, I'm not talking direct mail, and any of that kind of stuff. If they're going digital marketing, these are kind of the platforms most real estate agents are choosing right now. The other big one is YouTube. Now, I have been wildly successful with real estate YouTube channels in the past. The reason why I said in the past is because as I started growing all my other different channels, I got really into affiliate marketing, started teaching and training. I just have not spent the time on my own YouTube channel that I used to. Recently, I've been re-energizing it, spinning up some cool hyper-local stuff that's getting some attention. But it's been years since I've really done much on my YouTube channel for that business. I have other business. I have 7 YouTube channels. So I'm doing a lot of different stuff. I know YouTube, I love YouTube, but I just hadn't been really active. Where I had the most success myself with real estate and YouTube was with short sales. But I want to explain this because the strategy still applies regardless of the item if you figure it out. So in from 2007, which is when I got into real estate, to 2010, Vegas was like 94% distressed, which meant everything became short sales and foreclosures. So if you were a real estate agent and you were not doing short sales or foreclosures, you were probably getting out of the business at that point or taking a hiatus anyway. So short sales were confusing for people. Buyers didn't understand them. Sellers didn't understand them. Real estate agents didn't understand them. Shoot, the lenders barely even understood them. So there was an opportunity there. Whenever there is any kind of topic that people need to know about, but there's not enough information out there about it, there's a huge opportunity. So I decided to get on YouTube and start talking about short sales all the time. And I did an orbit, and what an orbit is when you do 365 days of videos. So for an entire year, I made a video every day. Now that doesn't mean I was publishing every day. I could make 3 videos in one day and then just schedule them. So I had time off. I didn't have to be in front of the camera every day. And I wasn't even in front of a camera on every one of them. I interviewed people. I talked to the buyers and sellers. I talked to the lenders. I had a big team. I had 15 people on my team. So I'd bring in other agents on my team, title companies, home inspectors. It doesn't always have to be you. But I did. I answered every question anybody could possibly have about short sales. And we killed it. I mean, we closed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of short sales. There was, we're taking just ridiculous. I don't want to quote numbers when I don't have the facts in front of me. I hate that. But it was definitely not unheard of for us to take 30 short sales listings in 30 days. It was just crazy. And everybody back then, it was easy to do so because the market called for it so much. Now, the window for something like that is usually pretty small because as soon as everybody starts doing it, then it becomes more competitive. So I'll give you an example. For Keller Williams agent, KW Command, when KW Command first came out, there was a guy, his name was Marty Miller, great guy, in Austin. he recognized that this was a new software that nobody was going to understand. And he built a YouTube channel. He was the first one, to my knowledge, built a YouTube channel all about how to use KW Command. And he did what was called the 66-day challenge. And every day was a new component. Okay, here's how to add contacts. Here's how to download your Facebook list. Here's how to run an ad. Here's how to send an email. And as KW Command continued to grow, he continued to add to that. Now, I have a channel like that as well, but mine came later. So he was first. He was the authority. Everybody learned his brand early on. And to now, still years later, Marty is a top. Now he's actually working for Keller Williams as a regional trainer around KW Command. So it ended up offering him more opportunity than just his YouTube channel. But he was able to monetize his YouTube channel and earn a pretty good amount of money every month. I won't give it away, but on his YouTube channel, teaching KW Command, and he put ads on it. But what he did was he was early, and he provided a much needed resource. So if you can figure that out, what is the resource, then your YouTube channel could be absolutely incredible. So there is a friend of mine, her name is Karen Carr, and I will put a link to her course in the video below, YouTube for Agents. And she has built an entire course around how to build your YouTube channel. And her channel is very much focused on, solving the problems and answering the questions that every buyer or seller would have, in addition to what's happening in the Georgia market, right? What's there that people would care about. And then that offered her so much opportunity that not only was she building a real estate business, she started getting interviews on how to build a channel. She's able to build courses. She's doing monetization. So it opened all kinds of other doors for her as well. And that's the beauty of things like YouTube is one of the absolute best channels to establish a brand. When you're on camera and people are watching you and they're watching how you move and they're listening to your voice inflection, they're able to judge, oh, she looks honest, or wow, he's really smart. This guy knows what he's doing. They start to pick up that energy of that person, and they decide pretty early on if they like you or not. And if they do, you've got an avid fan, a follower, somebody that's really likely to do business with you, that's going to digest those videos over and over again, that's probably going to tell their friends about it and send them over. So YouTube for me has been second to search. So search for me is my number one benefit in everything I've ever done. YouTube is definitely second. Facebook would be third. So just putting those kind of in order. Now, that's all of my channels, though. If I were to specifically say real estate, search is number one. You know what? Same. YouTube and Facebook. It would be the same. Those three are still my top ones. So see what I talk about with three? Like you do tend to kind of pick a few that you really do well in. And going much beyond that is really, really scary, because you're going to be thinning out all of your efforts and your energies. Okay, so YouTube, there is a very specific strategy to follow. It's not challenging. You can figure out a few things. What do I want my equipment to look like? Where do I want to shoot? What kind of people am I trying to attract? And then you just get on it and you start making those videos. There is a software below called TubeBuddy, and that's what I use to optimize my videos on my YouTube channel. You can check that out as well. And with that, I'm going to leave it here today. I'm Lori Ballen in Las Vegas. I'd very much appreciate your referrals. Thank you so much for joining me today.